want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then, what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day. Right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you're going between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. We here rocking out the day before the 4th of July. Shout out to all of the people in the chat. I don't know how I do it. I just love to give myself some credit because I don't know how I do it. We live streamed last night. We are a little bit late today because I woke up late. I woke up in the middle of the night. I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and I was about to get up and get ready, and then I said, wait a minute. Because you know how your body just naturally or regularly is just programmed to get up at a certain time? I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and then I was like, no, it's not time to get up. So then I went back to sleep, and then I, set a second alarm just in case I didn't wake up to the first alarm or, snoozing to the first alarm. And then next thing you know, I look up, and it's almost time for me to be at the studio. And I'm like, oh, my God. But the one thing that we not going to do is we not going to forego getting in the shower, and we not going to forego brushing our teeth. You know what I'm saying? So we got started with the show a little bit late today, but we definitely never going to miss. We may not necessarily always be on time, but we never gonna miss. We're gonna give you what you need, not what you want. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody that's out here in the chat. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Shout out to y'all 100%. When are you going to Dalton and become the new mayor? I'm gonna talk about Dalton today, and I'm gonna address that specifically. I'm gonna talk about Dalton, and I'm gonna address that specifically. So let me acknowledge the people that's already supporting the platform early. I never asked for it, but I always like to acknowledge the people that hold me down. First of all, let me give a round of applause for my dude Mike. That dude is out here really, really holding me down. Thank you, my friend. And then I also want to acknowledge ESD. Shout out to Easy Money C. Says, good morning, AD and friends. Hope everybody is having a great day. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. Also want to always acknowledge my dog, Chris James, because Chris James always looking out. So shout out to you, Chris James. And then I want to acknowledge the early super chatters. You know what I'm saying? My first super chatter today from Chase Barnes says, happy Wednesday, AD and peeps. We have a PSA. We're going to make it, and we not broke. Yeah, see, I pulled up on them. I don't be knowing who recording, but them Hebrew Israelites, they be out there recording and stuff like that. Shout out to y'all bothering good people that's out here trying to actually make some money and do the right thing. These Hebrew Israelites be on the corners with no job, no prospects, no opportunity, no education, but they telling you how to live your life. Shout out to them. Shout out to the brokes out here in these streets. So we love y'all. And no, you did not miss us, Dion Sardines. We are going to get it in, and we're going to regularly do what we do. I also want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So first and foremost, shout out to Tiege Hanley. That's 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Listen, ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. Rock out with that Tiege Hanley. We got different links for different channels. So wherever it is that you're discovering this or you decide that you want to go and get your Tiege pack, it's going to be a different link on After Hours, a different link on the Anton Daniels channel, and a different link on the Millionaire Morning Show, all right? So make sure y'all get that. Also, I want y'all to make sure that y'all tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. If you are not a bag chaser, please do not hit me up for the address on where we doing the meetup this month. If you're not a chaser, and I do realize that tomorrow's the 4th of July, so a lot of people are going to probably be sleeping in. So I am going to move the stock club to this weekend. I'm not sure which day I'm going to move it, but I'll let you guys know inside of the Patreon. I'm going to move the stock club to this weekend because I forgot that Thursday was the 4th of July. Too many holidays, man. Too many distractions. But we are live streaming tomorrow. We will be live streaming tomorrow on the Millionaire Morning Show. We don't miss. And so we're going to get that in. I also want to acknowledge my dog Glow. Big Glow in the building. Shout out to Big Glow. I appreciate you for holding us down on the platform. And yesterday was an exciting day. We had a lot going on. We had Randy drop episode 7 of Let's Rant About It on the Anton Daniels channel. A lot of people really enjoyed that. It was a lot of confrontation, so make sure that you go and check that out. And After Hours was lit yesterday. Yo, if y'all not subscribed to all of my channels, make sure you do so. And then also subscribe to my social media down there in the description. Tim Stepney in the building. Shout out to Tim. Tim says you got to get the stock ticker at the bottom. I don't know. I don't want too much going on. I do want it to be informative. I want it to be real. I want y'all to see what's really happening. But I want it to be relevant. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just have stuff on the screen just for the sake of having it on the screen. I want y'all to know when y'all come into it, or if you restreaming this, to know exactly what's happening with the thing at the bottom of the show. I want the pictures because I am a user experience expert. And so iconography is important. Images are important in order to make sure, because I know that people don't like to read. I also use a lot of reference material with regard to videos and stuff like that. So from a user experience perspective, I don't know if it makes sense. I don't want to just have stuff up here just for the sake of having it up here. You know what I'm saying? So we can discuss that. We'll figure it out. We'll do some testing, some A/B testing, and see what's happening. But it's been a great video. Good morning, Millionaire Morning Show. Can we get a Patreon video on how to properly find a location that would be good to raise a family and buy property? Put that down. And the notes. All right, got that written down. All right, y'all. So listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. let's go ahead and get started with the show because we got a lot to cover. And again, thank you to everybody that subscribed. Thank you to everybody that support the platform. I love you. I appreciate you. This is the greatest morning show on earth. And let's get to it. All right. First things first, quick hits. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to, but we just want to quickly keep y'all up to date on what's happening in these streets. First and foremost, a Florida stripper is suing over the age requirement that's meant to curb human trafficking. Check it out.
And right now to the fallout from one of the nearly 200 new Florida laws now in effect.
A stripper in Gainesville is now suing the Attorney General and others over a measure she claims violates her constitutional rights. Local 10's Calvin Hughes is joining us live in the newsroom with more on the bill meant to combat human trafficking.
Well, the new state law is meant to protect young people against human traffickers, as you just mentioned, and Governor Ron DeSantis signed it earlier this year, but a new lawsuit says the mandate goes too far, stepping on adult entertainment workers' First Amendment rights. 19-year-old Serenity Michelle Bushy worked at Cafe Risque outside Jacksonville up until this month. In a more than 80-page lawsuit, she claims a new law raising the age requirement for her profession lost her job and is now violating her First Amendment right to express herself. She writes that at least 8 others and the performers at Cafe Risque lost their jobs because of the new law, too. That's in addition to cooks, waitresses, barbacks, DJs, and security personnel that can't work at the establishments. Cafe Risque, a Jacksonville strip club, and a Jacksonville area lingerie store are also joining in the lawsuit filed against the Attorney General, saying that the law is broad and the legislature didn't consider a less restrictive regulation. They write, the law unreasonably burdens speech without measurably advancing any significant governmental interest.
Question. Here's my question to y'all. All right. Do y'all think that it's logical for a 19-year-old to be working inside of a strip club? Just a question. Again, let me ask one more time for the people in the back that's just waking up, getting the snot out of their eyes. Do y'all think it's logical for a 19-year-old to be working inside of a strip club? As we look at this, as we evaluate this, because I know a lot of y'all are for free speech and all of this stuff, right? Should strippers be at the very least 21 years old, or anybody that's working inside of the strip club? You can't go inside of a casino unless you're 21 years old and work there and get a job. Just wondering.
Adding, plaintiffs have a right to associate with adults of their own choosing, including the right to employ and contract with those adults. The legislature intended the law to curb human trafficking. They claim performers are subjected to engage in sex trade and even trafficking.
I see a lot of differences. Some people saying yes, some people saying no. Interesting.
Customers, managers, owners, and workers at establishments. The legislature says restricting the employment for performers under 21, quote, furthers an important state interest of protecting those vulnerable individuals from sex trafficking, drug abuse, and other harm.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Is that I see a lot of people saying, well, if they can go to war, then they can strip. Shout out to Connie Harris. But here's the problem, though. Do we allow for people to be able to do what they want at the expense of the people that we're trying to protect? You see what I'm saying? If the objective of the law is to try to prevent people from getting caught up in the lifestyle and human trafficking, do we make the exception because I don't even know if I'm using the right words here. Do we allow for it to go on because we don't want it to violate any of our human rights, or do we protect the least vulnerable amongst us? That's the question that I'm asking. Just a question.
And state lawmakers say that the bill's language will hold up in court against the most recent lawsuit. The city of Jacksonville already has an ordinance that requires entertainers to be 21 years of age, but that case is being challenged in federal court. I'll send it back.
Somebody said young but old enough to pay taxes, so let her shake that monkey. You got to pay taxes if you're 16 years old and you working at McDonald's. Taxes is going to come out of your check regardless. The taxes argument is a moot point. I don't care how old you are. The taxes is always going to come out of your paycheck no matter what. Chris James says protecting your country is honorable and it comes with benefits. Stripping does not. I don't know. I think it's something that's debatable that we can have a conversation about. But that's just quick hits. In addition to that, it was a man that was executed over a parking space in Atlanta, and now he's doing life in prison. Dumb decisions.
A murder at Lenox Square is now solved. Today, a judge sentenced the man responsible to life without parole. It's more time than the prosecution requested. The murder happened in 2020, and it was all over a parking spot. New at 6, Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie is live inside the Fulton County Courthouse. And Mark, the judge called this an execution.
Yeah, a prosecutor here at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office says he used a big diagram of the Lenox Square parking lot along with mall surveillance video and much more to explain to the jury what happened. He says the incident ended in the parking lot with a murder, but it started there too with what should have been a minor dispute over a parking spot.
On the count of murder, I'm going to sentence you to life without the possibility of parole. This case is particularly disturbing. It was described by witnesses to the murder as an execution. It was pure evil.
Do you know that they call me a square because I'm willing to walk away from a confrontation instead of standing on business? I don't have to worry about getting killed in a parking lot from some weirdo that feel like he got to stand on business, and I get to go home to my family. I don't have to worry about somebody jumping out of control and then you got to kill a dude in self-defense because we was arguing over a parking spot. I don't want your respect that much. What started off as an argument for a parking spot, and I see people getting into confrontations all the time. They get into road rage incidents. People be arguing in traffic. You don't know who got the ooh-wop shebang. People be arguing over a stupid parking spot. Now you got to do life in prison, and you ain't never, ever coming home, ever in your life. You ain't never coming home because you wanted to stand on business, which turned into an execution in a parking lot. And now you sitting before a judge, Alice Benton is saying that you ain't never coming home, you ain't gonna never see your family. The only thing that you can do is go and kick it with my man Fleece Johnson over there in prison. Crazy, bro. Why we can't control ourselves? Why have we become so emotional to where we willing to die over stuff that's not even relevant? Listen, I get it if you're willing to put your life on the line for your family, you're willing to put your life on the line for your country, you're willing to put your life on the line in order to protect the less vulnerable, you're willing to put your life on the line in order to ensure that, like, it's certain things that I get it. Okay, we should be willing to die for. But ego, really, it ain't even a parking spot. It's ego, it's toughness, it's I gotta show that I'm better than you. When you get older, you become wiser and you just no longer up for the BS, bro.
With a gun pointed to the back of that victim's head when you pulled the trigger and killed a man, leaving his family and his child with no father.
The law, a Lenox Square parking lot, and a life lost.
On March 8, 2020, defendant Ricky Lafarge shot and killed Twan Nguyen in the back of the head in the parking lot of Lenox Mall, all over a dispute over a parking spot.
Chief Senior Assistant Fulton County DA John Whitenauer says he recommended life, but because of his age at the time of the murder, 19, and his lack of an adult criminal record, with the possibility of parole, plus 5 years for Ricky Lafarge. But Judge Alice Benton exceeded that, ordering life without parole.
Like it even matter at this point. You done, bro.
Plus 5.
Someone lost their life over a parking space.
Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis.
Okay. Soon as I seen her, I didn't know she was going to pop up on the screen. We just going to go to the next story. That's unfortunate. I don't want to hear about Fonnie Willis. And then last but not least, you know that all of these different cities and these counties and the states are releasing their budgets. Don't nobody want to talk about Fonnie Willis. We don't want to see her. All of these places are releasing their budgets, and we talked about the budget over there in Chicago, Illinois. We talked about the budgets in Oakland. We talked about the budgets in California. But New York City has recently released their budget, And you know what's within the budget? $2 billion for affordable housing. Check it out.
Craig, good morning to you. That $2 billion is a little slice of the $112 billion city budget for the next 2 years. That little slice is a big win for affordable housing in this city and how safe people feel in their homes, all according to the mayor. Mayor Adams previously said making our city more livable starts with making sure New Yorkers can afford to have a roof over their head and feel safe in their own home. City Hall is restoring the $7 million for the unarmed security guard program in 55 NYCHA buildings, which is included in this $2 billion housing bump for the next 2 years.
We needed that money. We need security.
The Adams administration has a goal of building 500,000 new homes by 2032, but will immediately focus on homeless youth needs and food pantries across the 5 boroughs, as
I wonder how many of those homes is going to be for migrants.
well as investment in neighborhood pillars and Open Door. Those are housing prevention and development programs for housing rehabs and shared equity co-ops.
The budget continues our support for the Shelter to Housing Plan, funds housing assistance for homeless youth so they have access to safe and permanent housing, and protects 700 food pantries across the city.
The mayor initially sought a housing bump of $3 billion, but the city council argued the mayor was being too conservative in projecting future revenue. But the mayor still considers this $2 billion a win for the city. Later this morning around 9:30, he'll be in Brooklyn to celebrate this win, and hopefully we'll learn more about how many programs will get millions of dollars over the next.
I agree. $112 billion in revenue. I got 2 problems with this, right? My first problem is a city that is generating that amount of revenue is disgusting to me, because I don't care how many residents is in a city. I think that the goal of legislators should, for A, to be to serve the public, to do everything that's in the best interest of the public, not to try to get reelected. That's number one. And then number 2, I think that they should be trying to reduce costs and taxes. I don't know why that is not an objective of public servants, to try to reduce the burden on people so that they can start to use their money towards things that's more fiscally responsible for their families and their lifestyle. When you have more money to do what you want to do, that is the thing that spurs investment. That's the thing that spurs innovation. It spurs spending. You have more money rotating. And then it's going to come back in taxes anyway through you going and purchasing a car, or you going and purchasing a house, and then you paying property. Like, it's all going to come back to you. So you need to get more money out to the people so that you can rotate it, and then the people will be able to do the things that's more conducive to their lifestyle and their family, which ultimately, goes back into you actually making more money and generating more revenue while also keeping more money in circulation. I don't know why we think that being overtaxed makes sense. To have $100 billion plus budget, it just, for a city, it seems insane to me, bro. It, honest to God, feels insane to me. We should be trying to figure out what is the minimal amount for us to be able to make sure that we have a slush fund just in case everything goes bad. Reduce the burden, because cities should not even have a credit. Why do cities have credit like people in order for the banks to make money? Right? That's dumb. So they so worried about their credit rating. And then on top of that, we should try to reduce the amount of monies that's coming out of people's pocket in taxes. So we should have great infrastructure, minimal amount of taxes that you need in order to be able to run the city. We should not be basically using a city as a place to continue to try to employ as many people as possible. We should minimize the amount of money that we spend in order to have the city running. If it's not infrastructure, basic things, water, roads, stuff like that, then it should be cut out. It should just 100% be cut out. Police, safety, fire, and infrastructure. All of this other stuff, they need to go through with a fine-tooth comb and just throw it away. We need to make sure that we have the permitting offices, but that generate revenue in itself. So that shouldn't even be a part of the taxes, because when people pull permits or when people do safety or safety inspections, all of that has to be paid for by the developer. But all the rest of this stuff, city services and buildings and all of this stuff, man, if you're not maintaining sewer, trash, firefighters, police, and infrastructure, everything else needs to be thrown out, bro. Everything else needs to be thrown out. And then they should lower taxes as possible, as low as possible, which would spur investment, and it will also spur business owners to continue to invest inside of the city, and they would have more money to do the things that they want to do. I don't know why this is so difficult to figure out, bro. Why is this hard? But we keep on inflating and inflating and inflating and inflating, and then it just goes. I don't know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get it popping with the show. Chase Barnes says, throwing your life away over a parking spot in a mall like Lenox, where the Zesties be at, and you ain't never getting out of prison. You a young guy, super young guy. You ain't never getting out of prison, Chase. It just seems like it's just unreasonable. J-Rock24K says, last night's show was on fire, 2K maxing out white women. Mika brought the strap. What people don't know, Ross is the face. The DJ is the real stepper in Miami. Oh, okay. So the DJ is the real stepper. I think that Ross was, well, let me not use the R word. I think Ross was stupid for putting his people in harm's way. Shout out to J-Rock24K and shout out to everybody that's supporting the platform. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started with the show. Again, hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. That's popping. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. So, Dolton, Illinois. If you've noticed, I've started to report on Dolton less and less and less because I'm over the foolishness, and I also think that the people deserve whatever it is that they voted for. But I did think that this was pretty interesting because in addition to Andrew Holmes, which is one of the people that's like kind of sort of on a city council-ish, whatever they call it, you know, the trustees, right? In addition to him getting confronted and then the dude getting arrested as a result of that, I thought that this was interesting because firefighters decided that they wanted to confront Tiffany Henyard with a logical complaint. I don't take the complaint from the people into consideration anymore in Dolton, Illinois. Or Illinois. Let me not say the S. I know the S is silent. You know what I'm saying? Like the G in lasagna. I know the S is silent like the G in lasagna. But I don't take the complaints of people over in Dolton serious anymore because we just had a dude on Monday night that tried to convince me that voting wasn't in his best interest and it didn't make sense. So when I see that it was an extremely low voter turnout rate and Tiffany Henyard was elected overwhelmingly by a small majority of the population, and now people are coming into City Hall over there and complaining about the fact that she's in office, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear people complaining about the very thing that they say that they don't want to participate in. I think you deserve what you get, and you shouldn't move. Don't move to a better place. Don't look for better opportunities. Fix what you have in the city that you in. Don't complain about it. She got elected fair and square. If you want something different, then learn from your past mistakes and then be able to keep it moving. All right? I love lasagna too, Ari. I love lasagna. But I think that the firefighters had a pretty reasonable complaint, and I want to share this with you guys. Let's get it.
Well, fireworks at the Dolton Village Board meeting as a village trustee is confronted over sexual assault allegations, and the embattled mayor, Tiffany Henyard, is questioned over tax dollars.
Shout out to
There's
Mika.
also the burning issue of getting a new contract for first responders. Dane Placco joins us live now to break it all down. Hey, Dane.
Hey there. Yeah, there's certainly been no shortage of drama here in Dolton, much of which we've reported on. But there was a new twist last night as the union representing Dolton firefighters began asking some very tough questions at the village board meeting.
I'm here today with fellow members of 3766 looking for answers.
Dalton firefighters and their union president confronted Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard with a list of questions and grievances.
First of all, before we even get into their complaints, can we give a round of applause for how logical, how non-confrontational, and their ability to communicate something effectively is resonating more, and it seems to be getting a better result and a better response than people just getting up there and yelling and screaming, which doesn't warrant for any kind of response except for more confrontation. Let me get a round of applause for logically being able to communicate your points. They came up there, they're in unity, they're standing with each other, they let their union president speak for them, and then they're clearly communicating their issues and their problems, and they're saying it directly to them, which is basically disarming her and the trustees and forcing them to take responsibility and accountability instead of them just being confrontational back. When you communicate something to somebody clearly, and that's why I say this all the time, communication is an art. It's an art. You can say anything to anybody if you say it the right way. You got to read the room. You can tell somebody, hey man, your breath stink. But you just don't want to say it out loud and embarrass them. You just pass them a little bit of gum and say, they already know their breath stink. Once you pass them, maybe they haven't ate all day. Maybe it wasn't because they didn't brush their teeth. Maybe they just got problems because they got hungry breath. You know what I'm saying? You can teach somebody, or you can help them, or you can force them to take accountability if you do it the right way. It is an art form. And so these guys are doing it much different than the hyenas over there in Dalton, Illinois that voted her into place in the first place. And they being a lot more effective in the way that they communicate. Let's check it out.
Confronted Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard with a list of questions and grievances. Today, the union president telling me they'd simply had enough.
With everything going on in the village and on the media, at some point we just got to put our foot down and get the answers to the questions that we have.
The 15 full-time Dalton firefighters have been working without a pay raise or a new contract for the past 4 years. They worry Dalton isn't paying their insurance premiums because they're getting stuck with big medical bills.
3 members now who have pregnant wives and little ones at home, they're getting health insurance claims denied.
And the firefighters' own money that's deducted from their paychecks for the retirement fund isn't getting deposited.
Okay, see, now that's a real issue. That's a real issue. That's something to be concerned about. Hey, firefighters, first of all, it's inflation. We've been basically working on pre-COVID rates, and we haven't had a raise in over 4 years because y'all mismanaging the money. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a raise in over 4 years, but y'all taking trips over to Vegas. That doesn't make sense. Because if y'all was all operating on a shoestring budget and you was minimally trying to make sure that you build up the city while at the same time ensuring that we taken care of, then we can stomach. People can stomach making sacrifices as long as they know that you in the fight with them. But when you live in lavish and you out here promoting yourself and you making sure that you putting billboards up and you spending city money in order to do so, people can't stomach that. People are willing to endure with you when they know that you in the fight with them. If they got kids and they got 3 pregnant women and they got wives and stuff, but they putting their life on the line every single day in order to ensure that the city is safe, and their insurance is not getting paid, and they got money coming out of their paycheck that goes to their retirement and they go into their pension, and ain't no money actually going into the retirement, where the heck is the money going? That's a real issue. That's something that you can stand on. That's something that you can hold somebody accountable for. That's a question that you can ask and say, hey man, what the heck is going on? Our money ain't getting deposited. When our wife go to the doctor because I got a baby, they saying that we not covered. Why ain't the bills getting paid? That's a real issue that you can then bring up and enforce them to take accountability for.
I just think it's mismanagement. I think there's so much going on that no one can keep up with, like a priority list of what's important.
All this at a time when Mayor Henyard is at the center of a federal corruption investigation looking into spending and contracts.
They're fed up. It's embarrassing. They see what's going on.
Dalton trustee Kiana Belcher says
okay, hold on, baby. Listen, Kiana, I know that you're trying to do the right thing, baby. And we all on that struggle bus every day, making sure that we minimizing the amount of things that we putting into our body. Because I know that weight loss is 80% of what you eat. We all trying to get to the gym on a regular basis. We busy. I know that you busy with trustee work. I'm busy with, you know what I'm saying, business, building houses, live streaming, putting people on, employees, corporate America, the whole 9 yards. But baby girl, we gonna have to get you some Ozempic. Ozempic, baby, it's all in your face. Real talk. Listen, we get distracted over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. So if you're new here, it's going to be a different type of show than what you used to from the news. We don't just comment, react to, or report on the news. We address every single thing that we see happening on these streets, all right? It's all in your face. All in your face. All of the fried chicken, the hog maw, the collard greens, all of that soul food, meatloaf with the gravy, putting hot sauce on it, high cholesterol, too much salt. You know what I'm saying? The sodas, the Coca-Colas, we going to have to just get us on the water fasting. Water fasting. Who with me? Put the spoon down, pick up the fork, get us a salad, light salad dressing. You don't have to douse your salad with a whole bunch of stuff in order to cover over the green, the leafy. When you go to the grocery store, look for colors, not boxes, colors. Real talk. Real talk. Listen, when you, it's all in there. I'm with you. We got to make sure that we hold people accountable, but at the same time, we got to,
It's embarrassing. They see what's going on.
Dalton trustee Kiana Belcher says she believes
it's up in here, but it's down below there too. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. When I be looking at myself on the TV, sometimes I be like, man, I got to get it together. Immediately, all right, skip it. We're going to go on another diet again this week. It's a struggle. We all struggle with something. We got to have, and the biggest thing is, don't struggle too much with too many different things at the same time. Pick one struggle. Fight that fight. If you going to struggle, at least make sure you're getting rich on this side. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to be, then everybody got something. That some people are super fit because they spend all day in the gym and then they super broke. They pick the struggle. Some people, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all of us got issues that we trying to solve for. But baby girl, listen, the main thing is the thing that people look for. You know what I'm saying? We can't be pregnant at the top and the bottom. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's continue. We don't want to get distracted. We focusing on the firefighters today.
money earmarked for the fire department and the firefighters' insurance and pensions is being misspent by the mayor.
And it's actually affecting their families, their day-to-day life. And that's bad. You go to work every day.
Too much coffee, too much smoking. Women that got their lips black. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to pick one thing. Pick one thing and roll with it. Too much, all of this. Got to make some adjustments.
You have money taken out your check and then it's not going to the proper places. That's a concern.
In a statement, Dalton Village Manager Keith Freeman says, "We are aware of the several concerns that have been raised concerning
health." Keep on talking about we bloated. Ooh, girl, you bloated. No, nigga. That ain't got nothing to do with no bloat. Ooh, you must be that time of the month. No, dog. That's not bloat. Ooh, you bloated. No, nigga, that's called fat. All right?
Health insurance premium payments and the shortage of the deferred compensation payments. We are committed and working tirelessly to remedy the challenges that we share as a village to attempt to make the bargaining members whole again.
The Dalton Fire Department is here to serve and protect the residents of the village of Dalton, and we do this with pride. We will continue to serve despite the fact our health insurance is not being paid, our retirement funds are being taken from us, and workers' compensation claims are not being handled properly. These are serious issues, and they need to be addressed and fixed immediately.
And the fire.
And I think that that's reasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable to hold the mayor accountable for the fact that firefighters is out here suffering as a result of it. But apparently some guy confronted Andrew Holmes also, so we're just going to go ahead and throw that in there and get this out of the way too.
Now we turn to the controversy in the south suburbs. It's hit new heights, this time even leading to a person taken away in handcuffs at a board meeting last night in Dalton. Our Mugo Odigwe in the CBS Chicago Control.
Mugo! I ain't seen Mugo in a while. Shout out to Mugo. Look at Mugo. They got Mugo inside of the newsroom instead of out there in the streets of Chicago. Shout out to Mugo for getting a raise in promotion. Raising promotion for Mugo.
With more on the outrage last night, Mugo also, of course, updating us on how we got here.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on. So from an investigation into Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard and whether or not she misused public funds to a sexual assault allegation, we know Dalton board meetings, they have been chaotic. And last night, Audrina, was no different.
Did you rape that woman? Did you put something in her drink? And damn it, you gonna answer, and you gonna answer me. Promise you that.
Now that is activist Jedediah Brown walking from the podium over to village trustee Andrew Holmes. And
hey, Andrew, hey, hold on, wait a minute. Andrew Holmes was about that action, boss. Hey, when you approach people and you trying to make a move, it's two things that got to happen. You got to count on people to stop you, right? So if you running up on somebody and you basically got to give the precursor and say, and I'm about to come and get you, so that everybody can eventually get in your way and say, oh, no, don't do it. Oh, man. No. Because if everybody continue to let you go and then the dude is like, yeah, come on, let's get some, you might get your ass beat. So you got to be very, very careful. You got to be strategic with that. Andrew Holmes, listen, he might have old man strength. He may have old man strength. He may do something. He may poke your eyes out or something like that. Then you just going to have to take that L because you can't call for the confrontation and get beat up at the same time. So you got to be careful. This was nothing but a stunt. Andrew Holmes, as much as, look at him. Come on now, Cleavish. Come on, Cleavish. Dalton, Illinois, for all intents and purposes, is a clown show. It's a clown show. It's 100% a clown show. And we got clowns that's looking to go viral, looking to get some clout. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's hold Andrew Holmes accountable. Let's hold Tiffany Henyard accountable. But all of this extra and all of this, oh, and you gonna pay, and I need to know, and you gonna pay today. Stop it, bro. Stop it with the foolishness. Every single week and every single meeting, we see clown show after clown show. This ain't nothing but American Idol. This ain't nothing but American Idol. Look at him. He was ready.
I mean, you gonna answer, and you gonna answer me. Promise you that.
Now that is activist Jedediah Brown walking from the podium over to village trustee Andrew Holmes. An officer pushes Brown away while Holmes is stopped from walking over to him. Brown is eventually pulled out of the meeting by officers. Holmes is accused of sexually assaulting a former Dalton employee. His accuser says it happened during...
Look, gotta be somebody with a camera up with their booty tooted in the air.
Village-funded trip in Las Vegas. Meanwhile, members of the Firefighters Union also spoke up last night.
Clown show, 100% clown show. So let me give a round of applause for the fools. You know, at first when this first started to come out, I was up for defending y'all and making sure that I was always on y'all team and on y'all back and all of that. But now I think that y'all all are foolish over there in Dalton, Illinois. And I don't have no sympathy for y'all whatsoever. Somebody got to say it. Somebody got to say it. Somebody just got to be real with ourselves and tell the truth. Somebody got to say it. I have zero sympathy. And when I say zero, I mean absolutely none. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. No sympathy. I feel no sympathy for the people over there in Dalton, Illinois. I hope that that whole city goes bankrupt. I hope that they raise y'all taxes to unimaginable heights to where most people are starting to suffer. I hope that y'all food pantries go absolutely bankrupt. I hope that every single person pays and learns the lesson, because all of y'all thought that it was cool. Y'all voted off of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Y'all was out there with the protests and y'all was with it. You was with it. I hope every last one of y'all reap what you sow and don't move and don't run and don't think that it's not cool to stay and hold your city down. Hold it down. Hold it down. I don't give a piss about what has happened. And I hope Tiffany Henyard, if she got an election campaign, I would donate to Tiffany Henyard's election campaign in order to get her reelected again. Just for the sake, just for giggles, just to troll. I will donate. Where's the Tiffany Henyard donation to the new campaign button? Tiffany Henyard donation. Donate to Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard. All right, we're going to go ahead and get that popping. Hold on one second. I'm serious. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. No cap. No cap whatsoever. Let me see if I can get this up here popping. Because honestly, I think that the people deserve what they see happening over there in Dolton, Illinois. I 100% think that the people deserve it. Donate Tiffany Henyard. Let's see. This is tiffanyhenyard.com/shop. Donate. Let's see. Quick view, donate. One-time purchase, monthly donation. Nope, we're going to do a one-time purchase. Add to cart. View cart. Let's see, checkout. What you mean you can't accept online orders right now? Look at that, see? I wanted to donate to the People's Mayor, Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard. I was literally about to donate $100, and y'all can't get y'all life, y'all just can't get right. You can't even accept donations from a secure checkout. Y'all can't even accept donations? Really? Wow. I was really about to donate to Tiffany Henyard's Super Mayor campaign. I really was. And right after that, look at it. The button is just rotating. This is how messed up we are inside of our... This is how messed up we are. Honest to God, we are so messed up. If this is not the most ghetto thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, I can't even vote to troll the people of Dolton, Illinois. I can't even vote to troll the people because ghetto, get low. This is not even ghetto. This is get low. Get low in every sense of the word. I can't even troll correctly. I can't even troll correctly and donate to the Super Mayor because the donate button is still rotating. Let me read some of this. I didn't know, honest to God. Honest to God, that is my first time on the site. That is my first time trying to donate. You've seen it in real time. You've seen it in real time. That's my first time on the site. I literally was trying to donate, and then I got the error message. 304 error message. 404, 304. I call it the 304 error message, the whole message. That's for my people that had pagers back in the day. Levi the Lamb says, yo, Anton, you inspired me to do my own morning show. Well, just don't try to compete against me because you ain't going to get no audience. But shout out to you for doing your thing, big dog. High Tolerance says those Ozempic jabs got people out here looking like bobbleheads. Maybe. Yep, I get you. Grayway says, Mr. Jefferson, Deacon Fry said, not today. Not today. Come on, Cleavish. Come on, Cleavish. AD, when all else fails, hit up her GoFundMe. She got a GoFundMe? We gonna see if that works. What is the GoFundMe for? What is our GoFundMe for? Anyways, I try to donate to the Super Mayor, so you can't say that I wasn't trying to be. You can't say that I wasn't trying to be authentic in my dedication to trying to make sure that she get reelected. Because I wanted to put some money behind her, but it is what it is. Y'all got to get y'all website together. Anyways, neither here nor there. Oakland Mayor, apparently she just recently did an interview so she can speak to the issues that is happening as far as the raid out here in these streets. Aaron McBride, I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's look at what the Oakland super mayor had to say.
All right, Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your taking out the time to talk to us this morning.
Absolutely.
We're going to get to the budget shortfall because there's a lot to talk about with that, and the council is voting on that today. But first, I want to get to some issues that people want to hear about, residents of the city want to hear your thoughts of. And that goes back to the FBI raid, that sudden raid that happened at your home early one morning. You denied any wrongdoing in your speech last week after the FBI raided your home. Have you met with the FBI since the raid?
You know, I can't speak on an ongoing investigation, but what I can say is I'm cooperating with the FBI 100%. And not just that, I am not the target. More so than that, you know, if I find any information that I can share, I'm going to be 100% transparent.
How does she know she's not the target?
What we're focused on is running the city, working off of the progress that we've already made in just a short period of time.
How does she know she's not
months.
the target?
Can you say if they took anything from your house, or why, if you're not the target, why they chose your house to do it?
I wish
she said that she has no information from the people. How does she know she's not the target?
I could say more. I really do. But again, it's an ongoing investigation, so I cannot say further.
Separate from the raid, though, there was some talk, though, of your partner, Andre Jones. Is he involved in any kind of work with your administration at all?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, he is my partner. He is his own person. And so with that being said, again, this is an ongoing investigation.
So the former Chief of Staff, Regina Webb, she came out publicly and said that the FBI questioned her about him. Had you heard that before she had said something about it?
So she was my Chief of Staff on the City Council. And so with that being said, it's an ongoing investigation, and we can't say give out further information.
And
that's the mole. That was the mole. That black woman that was there with her when she got elected. That was the mole right there. The mole and the person that probably started this whole thing was the woman that was right by her side the whole time. Yep, that's her. She the one that sent the FBI. She the one that started the investigation. And she the one that got her all jammed up. Her. Black woman that was out here trying to do the right thing. She is the one that got everybody jammed up. Now all of a sudden she was only the Chief of Staff for the City Council, but you fired her all of a sudden, or she was no longer willing to be the Chief of Staff when you became the mayor because she said, listen, I want to make sure that we do the right thing. You see her? Look, she was advocating for you to become mayor. She right there by your side, on your left-hand side. Now all of a sudden, she was only your Chief of Staff. Listen, I called Cap, but she is answering the questions, right? Look, right here, look at this. Hey! Because she thought that she was on the up and up. Somehow, some way, it all went left, and then now all of a sudden, y'all not cool no more? That's it. That's the whistleblower. We got to get her. Hey, somebody, all of my people, my moderators, my people that's with me, y'all find out her information. Y'all get it to me. Send it to me in an email, Anton Daniels, 413@gmail.com. And then make sure that y'all get that over here. I'm going to get her on the Millionaire Morning Show. I promise you.
You can't say anything about Andre Jones has nothing to do with your administration at all. You could say that for
sure. Oh, absolutely.
All right. And one more question. Do you have any association with the Duong family? Their houses were also raided on the same day that your house was also raided too. What is your association with them? Just in general, apart from anything that might be going on.
So what I can say about that is that you can see that associations or whatever have you that you would consider association is that everybody was actually, we take pictures with everybody. And so you can see that other electeds have taken pictures with them as well. And so, but that's all that I can say. Again, ongoing investigation. And so we are not able to talk about that.
You said during that press conference as well that there are some billionaires that don't live in the city from San Francisco and in Piedmont as well.
I agree, Connie. What's the point of giving an interview when you can't even answer due to an ongoing investigation? That's actually the default. Like, that's the thing that you say when you don't want to answer the question.
You said have something against your administration and want you out of office. What can you tell us about that? Because that was the first time I had heard any sort of thing like that. But what do you have to show that that is the case and that you have these billionaires coming after you, so to speak?
Oh, absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, we know that there is a lawsuit right now against the people who are trying to recall me because they're refusing to work with law enforcement to really show who is actually donating money for the recall itself. And so we all should be concerned. We should all be concerned when the Public Ethics Commission has subpoena for this information, which is what they need to do, is show who's donating and how much they're donating, but they're refusing to cooperate. And so that's very concerning. We do know that there are millionaires and billionaires from Piedmont and San Francisco who may be donating to this pact. And that's probably part of the reason why they don't want to actually be transparent about who's donating.
You said there might be some correlation between the recall effort and the raid on your home. Do you believe that to be the case? There's some sort of something behind the scenes that they're working actively against your administration?
You know, I actually didn't say that. You know, I think that those are two very different things, or they could be the same thing. We don't know yet. It's an ongoing investigation.
Gotcha.
Everything is an ongoing investigation.
The recall effort, the city council is going to take that up today, a resolution placing the recall against you on the November ballot. What is your message to the council and to Oaklanders about this?
We've done great work coming into office. Let's recall that right when I got into office 18 months ago, that this recall started. So it is a waste of money, a waste of resources. Right now, we're dealing with a huge deficit in the city of Oakland, where we're looking under couch cushions to see how we can actually deliver services. This is not the democratic way of doing things, and not just that, but it's going to cost city residents millions of dollars that the city does not have.
Should the council set up a date for the recalls, move forward with it if we're still in the process of verifying the signatures and who's donating? Well, the signatures are verified, but the donation part, the ethics part of looking into the recall effort, should we be moving ahead with that if they're still looking into the who's donating to the recall effort campaign?
You know, of course, that's going to be the decision of the city council. That's number one. But you make great points. You know, we don't know who's donating to this pact illegally, right? And we don't know who's behind running the recall efforts in regards to the finance part of it. However, it's going to be on the city council to make that decision. And then number two, again, you know, we all know that this is going to cost the residents in the city of Oakland millions of dollars that we do not have for the services that we need to deliver.
What is your plan to combat this recall effort? You know, this is something else on your plate that you have to deal with.
Yep.
It's not going to be easy. It's going to be expensive. What is your plan of attack on this?
Is to do what we've been doing, is making sure that we're effective and results driven. You know, what we've seen is that for many, many decades, politicians have come and gone, and in areas that needed investment, like Deep East Oakland with the Coliseum, like West Oakland, you know, where we know that there's a ton of air pollution and inequities, that we've already built out Ramondi Park. You know, we have that for the Oakland Ballers. These are all the successes that we have been able, and they're huge successes, that my administration have been able to deliver for the city of Oakland. And this is how we generate new monies so that we can actually fulfill our duty of serving the city of Oakland and its residents.
Let's talk about the budget here. City Council could vote on that budget today. We're talking about a shortfall of $177 million.
That's
is that correct?
You know what? When it all comes back down to it, it all comes back down to the money. When you say that you having a possible deficit of $177 million as a city, we operating with a surplus over here in Detroit. And they mad about it. They mad about it at every event, draft, fireworks, even Pride. They didn't have no incidents whatsoever. They mad about it. They got a $177 million budget deficit. Deficits in Chicago, deficits in Oakland, deficits over in New York, deficits across the board. That's a lot of money. That's a lot. 177 M, sister. That's a lot of money. Ain't enough couch cushions where you can find change up under in order for you to be able to cover that shortfall.
$63 million in cuts are proposed right now. Is that correct as well?
Well, that's not my proposal.
Not your proposal, but the council proposal. So you still have over $100 million that still need to be cut here.
That's a lot.
What is the plan now to attack this budget?
Well, you know, I've already had my mayor's proposed budget out, and it's been out for a few weeks now. And basically, I do believe that the mayor's proposed budget, what we did was we really looked at how do we continue to deliver on the key items. The key item is public safety, first and foremost, right? That's our Department of Violence Prevention. That's our police department, our fire department. And then not just that, but a clean city. We're just talking about the basics here, right?
Shout
a
out
clean
to my
city
girl,
is
our
what we all
streets.
deserve.
Definitely
And so,
gonna address that
and then the
shortly.
third part of that tranche is making sure we have economic development. How do we bring in more resources so that we continue to actually build on this, you know, the economic pie that we have here in the city, so we can continue to deliver the services. So with that being said, the mayor's proposed budget, the proposed budget that I put forward, is fiscally responsible, and it also allows for us to deliver those services. However, the county...
She's not saying nothing. She's just repeating herself over and over and over again. Fiscally responsible, deliver services, essential services. Listen, Oakland is on fire. Oakland is on fire. Oakland is on fire. If y'all was to ever eventually elect a decent governor over in California, and because Oakland is going down. Let's just be real. Look, I would not want to be the person that's at the forefront of this administration that's steering this ship right now. And I will say that these problems have been happening in Oakland way before she got there. She's not making it no better. She's not the person for the job, in my opinion. And she's sassy and she's a little bit much. So I don't think that she's the face of what it is. Actually, I think that it is necessary for her to be there because somebody got to go down with the ship. Somebody got to burn this city to the ground, and that's basically what's happening over in Oakland. Oakland is going down, and it's going to be a lot of other cities that go down with it. If at some point California elected a decent governor, Oakland would be a play. Oakland would be a play because when the correction happens, and places like Oakland are going to be at the forefront of the congregation when the correction happens, you're basically going to have a fire sale. At some point, the city is going down so much and it's going to be so derelict that there's going to be a fire sale. It's going to be a fire sale. You don't want to go and invest in a place when it's going well. You want to go and invest in a place, or you want to look for deals and discounts and opportunities for growth when everything starts to go bad. And so Oakland is going down. Absolutely. There is no, sometimes you have to devalue a city so much, and then when the correction happens and a recession hits, it's going to be so much gnashing of the teeth that you're basically getting it for free. They're gonna have to give the city away for free. And when they give it away for free, that's when you come in and swoop up everything. If you eventually have a decent governor that solves for a lot of the basic problems that's happening over in California, and then you basically give the city away for free, business owners come in, they build the city back up, they take advantage of it, they make a lot of money, and then they make it what it is, and they make it what it's supposed to be again. They making America great again. But I don't see it as a play because Oakland is going down. That's really the whole message right here. You can't have a $177 million shortfall, have no police academy to eventually make the city safe, rampant homelessness, criminals taking over everything, businesses running out of the city, and think that you can fix it. It's already done. You got to hit a reset button over in Oakland.
Council's other budget that the council is looking to probably maybe vote on, it doesn't do that. It actually doesn't even have a plan for public safety. It cuts our force, our police force. It cuts the Department of Violence Prevention. It browns out, meaning shuts down fire stations with no plan. And so, running a city like the city of Oakland, you have to ensure that you can deliver services. I mean, coming into office, we saw that crime was on the rise before I even got to the office.
Whoever is in an official position over in Oakland, don't sign up for it. Just because it's going to burn to the ground. It's nothing you can do. You're going down with the city.
And then we were able to bring back the ceasefire program, really hone in on why we were having so much crime, and then honing in on those people who are committing the crime. And what we're seeing is that under my administration, we have a 17% drop in crime rates across the city within the last 3 years, and 30% drop in crime rates within just the last year.
But the budget, though, the budget is made up, I think, a good chunk of it to public safety, to the police department.
That's right.
It's going to suffer from these budget cuts, right? In
Well,
what way?
Well, in that case, it's like there are no, under the mayor's proposed budget, what I'm proposing is that we have no cuts to OPD, the sworn personnel right now. There will be attrition. There will be attrition, meaning like when officers leave the department or when they retire or what have you, that we would not fill in those positions until we get to the 678 number, right? And that's the number of officers that I'm asking for. Under the council's other proposed budget, 610. There is no way that we can say that we are actually focused on public safety if we allow for the council proposal to move forward.
The Police Officers Association, they're having a press conference right now this morning denouncing the cuts. What do you have to say? What is your message to the POA about proposed cuts, about the threat of budget cuts to the department, to police?
Yeah, you know, the budget cuts, it's happening. We're seeing it's happening across all cities in well, at least all large cities across California. And California, the state itself, is going through a lot of deficits and budget cuts. With that being said, all departments across the city have had to cut down on what they're spending on. And so with that being said, what I would say to people is that the mayor's proposed budget is the public safety budget. It is the budget that really puts forward the public safety plan. It brings the number of officers 678, but remember, we also have an opportunity to renew Measure Z, and that is going to be important because the renewal Measure Z creates a minimum threshold of 700 police officers. And so moving from 678 to 700 is a lot easier than what the council may be proposing, which is 610, and I warn everyone that that is going to be very dangerous.
Listen, man, she ain't saying nothing. I know what it is, and I'm telling y'all what's going to happen. It's got to get worse before it get better. Whenever you try to hit a reset button or whenever you try to fix something or you try to fix a city, you don't necessarily fix a city and it just becomes better all of a sudden from marginal investment or marginal improvement. That's not what happens. You got to tear the whole thing down and start over. That's what happened to Detroit. That's the only reason why we in a position, and it took massive influence and massive investment from people like Dan Gilbert. I got to give Dan Gilbert a lot of credit for what he did for Detroit. Dan Gilbert came in, and obviously he's opportunistic too, but he's also a thought leader here in the city. And he basically said, listen, all of these abandoned buildings got to go. We're going to work with the mayor's administration in order to ensure that, you know, we get investment, spur investment. We got to buy up all of these buildings, all of these historical buildings. We're going to restore them. We're going to start building. And the first thing that he did was he moved all of his employees from the suburbs and across the country into the city. And I remember when it happened years ago. It was way before the pandemic. This was in the teens, like 2014, 12, 11. And he basically took the opportunity to spur investment, and he built up a whole thing, and then he inspired other billionaires and other thought leaders in the city, the Illages, and they wind up moving all of the teams down here, and they got rid of all of the abandoned buildings, and then they rebuilt it up, and they refurbished everything. You're not getting nothing here now. It's already too late for most people. It's too late. They gave everything away. They building a new bridge over to Canada. On top of the Ambassador Bridge. And now is so much happening and so much construction here that you're not getting nothing. You got to basically start spreading it out. And now you created a core, it spreads out, but they had to reset and they had to start all the way over in order to be able to come up. Real talk. It's going to take some massive investment and some collaboration by people that actually see value in what goes on over inside of Oakland. But shout out to her for giving out that interview that don't necessarily mean nothing or translate into anything. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to go from there. Hold on. Let me get the Dusties out real quick. All right. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to go from there. Aaron McBride says, why, Anton? I feel you, though. I had family over there once. There's no saving it. It's no saving it. There's no saving it. It's over. Shout out to Jamal Fowler, says, good morning to the Chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And shout out to Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. All right, let's move over into the next thing. Armed guards are now having to police delivery drivers in order for them to be able to deliver their packages, as well as it was a major armed robbery in a mall that resulted in a woman getting her life taken. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it.
A new crime concern popping up in the South Bay. Delivery drivers say they're increasingly worried about becoming targets. It's happening often enough that at least one company is now hiring armed guards to escort their drivers. Damian Trujillo in downtown San Jose with a story you'll see only on NBC Bay Area.
One of those escorted delivery.
Let me also acknowledge my girl, our streeter in the building says, thank you for being consistent, bold, and real. Happy hump day. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for always holding us down. I love you. Absolutely.
Driver spent part of his day here at the 7-Eleven on 3rd and San Fernando. And at least one retired San Jose police officer says he's not surprised. Many call them the lifeline of the American economy, truck drivers, including those who deliver merchandise to convenience stores, often early in the morning. But a clerk at the downtown San Jose 7-Eleven was surprised to see this recently. A delivery company called Cormart providing an armed guard with its truck and driver. Gurdev Singh says, unfortunately, he understands why.
Facing so many problems just because of the crazy guys. Now they are good at all. Here in downtown San Jose, lot of.
I don't even know what is say, Sean? I don't know what is Sean. Y'all got to be able to speak English. All of y'all that own these 7-Elevens. Stop speaking that mumbo jumbo and learn how to speak some proper English. I don't know what this dude is saying. Anybody got a translator? Jesus.
Crazy people hanging all the time. So better they hire a guard.
We reached out to Cormart's parent company, but they declined to explain why they're now providing the guards. San Jose police say they saw a slight increase in the robbery of delivery trucks 2 years ago, but say they have not seen a spike lately. Flavio Lopez works for another delivery company and says he wishes he had a guard as well, or at least a second person to help him keep an eye on the merchandise. Lopez hasn't been robbed, but he has had his run-ins downtown.
They had a pallet just like this, little stack, and somebody just came over and went, knocked it all over Starbucks glass. I had to pick it all up, and he just ran, so stuff you got to deal with downtown. It is what it is, man.
Unfortunately, this is what society has become now, with armed guards guarding merchandise from the retailer, because there seems to be a sense of lawlessness in our society.
Daryl Cortez is a retired San Jose police officer who now works in corporate and retail security.
It's very unfortunate. You and I pay for it. The consumer pays for it in the back end, because prices increase because the merchandise is going out the door, and no one is stopping the bad guys because of the threat of violence.
It's clear that not everyone is taking the extra precaution. We saw several delivery trucks today and none had a guard. But Cortez says if one company is doing it, others are likely considering it to keep their drivers and products from being targeted.
We gotten to the point to where basically now you got to have an armed security guard just for us to get deliveries, just for stores to get deliveries, because it's so bad and the police are so understaffed that now we basically privatizing police services. That's basically what we're doing. We privatize police services. And so, you know, when you see a lot of this happening throughout the United States of America, you know what I think is going to happen? You know what I think is going to happen? I think that there's going to be more privatized police and security service and armed guard services that are protecting certain neighborhoods and certain environments. We're no longer going to just depend on cities to provide basic services and safety in order to ensure that your houses is not getting broken into, that your kids cannot go to school. I told y'all that it's a class war. The people that have will be provided for. The people that don't, there's going to be gnashing of the teeth. And there's going to be a separation. There's going to be a wall, not built up at the border, but this invisible wall of opportunity that you cannot have access to if you cannot sustain in order to pour into whatever it is happening. And so, instead of people pouring into the tax base, they're going to start pouring more into and pulling their resources in their communities into making sure that they're protected. And that's where all of the value is going to be. You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of a movie. I think it was The Walking Dead, not The Walking Dead, not Shaun of the Dead, but it was this movie where basically all of the zombies took over and it was the slow zombies. It wasn't like the World War Z zombies or any of that. It wasn't the ones that was fast or those type of zombies. Those are the ones that scare you. It was the ones that was like, oh, which I don't understand how those type of zombies can take over the world because they too slow. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, it was those type of zombies. And it was a movie a long time ago, and it was like the black man, and he was a leader of the zombies. And so they had built this basic city that was surrounded by water, and then they would hire regular people to go out and source booze and go to the stores and be able to loot and stuff like that. Dawn of the Dead, it might be Dawn of the Dead. And so they would source all of these people to go out there, and they would go out there and they would go and pilfer and find all of the stuff, but they would have to go out there with the zombies. Night of the Living Dead, I'm not sure which one it is. It might be Night of the Living Dead. Let me see something. I'll look it up. It's not Night of the Living Dead. The Night of the Living Dead is too old. That one was too old. It wasn't that, because that was in 1968. It wasn't Night of the Living Dead. I think it was Dawn of the Dead. Let me see. I want to do a movie night with y'all one day. It wasn't Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead is the one where they was in the mall. They had the 2004 one, and then they had the 1978 one. It wasn't Dawn of the Dead. Let me see. Land of the Dead? It's always something of the dead. Land of the Dead. Land of the Dead. That's what it was. 2005. Shout out to y'all. It was Land of the Dead. And the black man, he was the leader. Ooh, ooh, and he was walking around, right? And so eventually they had learned, to follow the black guy, the black guy zombie. I don't know if y'all gonna call it racist or something like that. Eventually they followed the black guy. But the point is that they had surrounded themselves off, and the rich people had lived in an area, and the poorer people and the workers lived in a completely different area. And they would hire the poorer people that thought that they could work themselves up to the point to where they would eventually be able to be amongst the rich people, and it was a class war. It was 100%. There's so many hidden messages. The point of the movie had nothing to do with the zombies. The point of the movie is called Land of the Dead. It was from 2005. The point of the movie was it was to show the difference between class wars and how it is that no matter what the circumstances that's happening in society, in a capitalistic society, eventually is those that have controls those who don't. Those that have control those who don't. And so they'll manufacture all of these different things to incentivize you to be against each other, to keep you distracted, all of that. But eventually you'll realize that you don't qualify if you can't sustain or you don't get to the point to where you can justify whether or not you deserve to be in that class. It was a class war. It was 100% a class war. So I don't know. All of these pop culture references, it brings it back, and it allows for me to reference it in order to illustrate a point to y'all. And that's why we're the greatest show on earth. But in addition to that, it was a homicide at Fashion Island Mall, and a woman got killed. Check it out.
Breaking news in Newport Beach, a homicide investigation at Fashion Island. Hello, I'm Ellen Leva. We have confirmation, perhaps, that happened right there at that popular shopping mall. Let's go right to Orange County reporter David Gonzalez, who is there live. And David, what have you learned so far?
Hey, right now we are about to hear from Newport Beach Police and also the mayor of Newport Beach related to the reports of a shooting here at Fashion Island. We can confirm that one person has been killed here at the mall, but we are getting ready for the public information officers to give us some information as to exactly what took place. But I do want to point to some Air 7 video from earlier today. I could give you some background information as we wait. This all started around 4:39 this afternoon, here outside of Fashion Island. If you know this area, there is an area where Barnes & Noble and Whole Foods are at. In this area, we got information that there was reports of a possible shooting. Here, I'm going to toss it over now to Sergeant Oberon, who's given us an update as to what took place here on Fashion Island.
Today at about 3:30 in the afternoon, there was a couple, a husband and a wife at Barnes & Noble. They were approached by two suspects, and there was a struggle.
Good morning, Matt Messi. Good morning, everybody.
And they were robbed. A white Toyota Camry sedan then pulled up, and the suspects tried to get into that vehicle to flee the scene. One of the suspects ran while the vehicle fled and actually struck the female victim. Subsequent to that, the male suspect that ran got back into the vehicle, at which point some rounds were fired from a handgun and the vehicle fled the scene. Fortunately, no one was struck by any of the handgun rounds. Unfortunately and tragically, the female that was struck by the car was pronounced deceased.
Man, that's messed up.
Newport Beach police officers then ensued once they picked up that vehicle in a pursuit which took them into LA County, I believe Cypress and LA County, and all three suspects have been captured. At this point, there's no outstanding suspects, there are no threats to the Newport Beach community, and we have a confirmed robbery.
So basically, it was a robbery. They was coming out of the Fashion Island Mall, and some form of a carjacking / robbery or whatever, and it went left, and now you have a woman, an older woman, that was killed and basically hit and ran over by a car, and somebody lost their life, and it went from stealing / robbery / carjacking up to attempted murder and now murder, and now it's a possibility that these dudes is going to spend the rest of their life in prison. All over what? All over what? That's the America that we live in today, y'all. Y'all better gird up. Y'all better protect yourselves. Y'all better prepare yourselves and put y'all in the best position possible, because it's going to get worse before it get better. You know what I'm saying? Let's move over into the next subject. A 74-year-old woman, before we get over into the tariff wars, because I want to explore something that was dropped from CNBC earlier. And we're going to get into that shortly. But I want to spend 10 minutes on this before we start to mine out the differences between the tariff war and whether or not that's going to cause inflation further for you guys, as illustrated inside of the debate, or one of the points that was being made inside of the debate. I want to bring this to light because this is very, very tragic and it's unfortunate. A 74-year-old woman was pushed in front of a train. What the hell is happening in California, bro? What happened in California? What happened in the Bay Area? What happened to all of these people? Y'all pushing 74-year-olds in front of trains now? That was something that was just recently happening over in New York before they started to put the National Guard and tried to put more security and more cops inside of the subway station, because I guess they figured if people don't feel safe taking public transportation, which is a staple over in the New York area, then it absolutely falls apart. What kind of demons are walking around pushing people in front of trains, bro? This is like a Denzel movie.
A Daly City family devastated after a bizarre and unprovoked attack. Police say someone pushed a 75-year-old woman in front of an oncoming BART train. As NBC Mayor Sergio Quintana tells us, BART police have made an arrest.
BART police were called to Powell Street Station just after 11 p.m. last night. According to the BART police chief, his officers arrived to a tragedy.
The train was arriving at the platform and coming into the platform when the victim was pushed, and we believe that the suspect intentionally pushed this person into that moving train, causing those serious injuries.
According to Chief Franklin, the 74-year-old woman, now identified as Corazon Dan, hit her head on the oncoming train and fell onto the platform. She died a short time later at San Francisco General Hospital. Her family didn't want to talk on camera, but Corazon's nephew tells us her family calls her Tika Cora, and she works at the Park 55 Hotel close to the Powell Street BART station. Her niece tells us she was on her way home last night when the attack happened. BART police say they were on scene within 4 minutes of getting the first call of this assault, and they had someone in custody 4 minutes after that.
So a woman is getting off of work. A 74, 75-year-old woman is getting off of work from working at a hotel on her way home, catching public transportation. And so she's standing there, and then somebody walks by and pushes her in front of a train. She hit her head, falls on the tracks, and then next thing you know, she died. It seems like the most vulnerable amongst us is the ones that's catching all of the L's. More women are dying, and more women are the ones that's getting assaulted and being targeted, and young people. Young girls, women, older people, those are the ones that's catching most of the L's, and those are the ones that's the most vulnerable amongst us.
BART police have arrested 49-year-old Trevor Belmont, also known as Hoke Tang, on charges of murder and attacking an elder.
Asian on Asian crime.
Investigators describe Belmont as a transient.
We have had contacts with this person in the past, but not for any serious crimes such as this one.
BART riders at the Powell Street station today told us they were saddened by news of a fellow rider being...
Now, when I get in front of a train, I'm going to be standing way back until the train stops.
...killed. Some tell us they've seen some dangerous situations unfold on the trains and on platforms.
I see arguments, but to the point where you got...
A vampire. You see his teeth? This dude belong in Blade. He's a vampire. I don't trust him. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think that this man is a vampire. The fangs is too far down, and this is too up. This dude is a vampire, bro.
To push somebody, I haven't seen that.
It's scary sometimes, because sometimes the officers or like the ambassadors are not on the trains that late at night and they're not walking the trains.
According to BART police, they have increased police patrols of the trains recently, and they're looking to hire more officers to further increase patrols. In San Francisco, Sergio Quintana, NBC, Bay Area.
We're learning more about a really terrible crime at a BART station in San Francisco. Investigators say someone pushed a woman into a train coming down the tracks last night.
Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. I hate this. I hate myself for not being able to stay focused and dedicate myself to this is supposed to be a serious subject. He know he ain't right. Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Bruh. God help me, Lord Jesus. What is happening out here in these streets? You don't. Stop it. You don't. How you know I was talking about his hair? I never even said nothing. I never said nothing about his hair. I never said nothing about his hair, and y'all automatically just jump to conclusions. Why you got to justify it? I don't even know if that's real hair at the top. I don't know if that's real hair. He ain't got no beard, which makes the hair more pronounced. At least he got a stash. If he didn't have a stash, it would be wild. Oh, man. Everybody must have called off. Everybody called off at Channel 7 that day. And he was like, all right, I volunteer. I volunteer as tribute. Honestly, is that real hair? What's this guy's name?
And she died. ABC 7 News reporter Lou Spena spoke to Bart's police chief and to the victim's family.
Look at that boy. Oh, God. Focus, Anton.
She joins us live in the newsroom, Luz. This is such a tough story.
Heartbreaking, Julian, and I spoke to the victim's nephew on the phone. He said she worked as a telephone operator at the Marriott in Union Square. She took Bart every night after work. Last night, around 11:06 p.m., she was pushed by a suspect and hit her head on the train and fell on the platform.
It was a route she took for the last 40 years. Monday night was her last. 74-year-old Corazon Dandan has been identified as a woman who was pushed into an oncoming BART train Monday night.
It's a tragedy.
I think it's a man piece. But if it's a man piece, why wouldn't you get it the full hairline? Like, I think it might be his real hair, because you can't have a man piece and still be back here. You got to be, if you're going to get a man piece, then get it all the way fixed. You know what I'm saying?
It goes to public safety. How safe are we at BART or anywhere in the Bay Area if people can just randomly cause another person to die?
According to her nephew, Corazon had just finished her night shift as a telephone operator at the Marriott in Union Square. She was taking the train to head home to Daly City.
We determined that the suspect had approached the victim as a train was arriving at the station and pushed the victim towards the train, causing the victim to collide with the train.
That's evil. That's some evil stuff. Honest to God, that is some evil stuff. To push somebody in front of a train, you got to be a real demonic person and you got to be evil. That's evil. But meanwhile, over in, I want to get off this story because it's making me sad. Meanwhile, over in Chicago's Lakeview neighborhood, 53 people was arrested overnight. And I'm not sure what this is, but y'all sent this to me, so I'm going to just go ahead and tackle this real quick because I don't want to spend too much time on Chicago. I want to get over into the tariff war.
Let's talk about some new details we're getting in an overnight scuffle in Lakeview between partiers and police officers. This was hours after the Pride Parade ended, a late-night scuffle between crowds that started to tangle with the officers. Neighbors describe a chaotic scene with dozens of arrests. Police say multiple officers were hurt trying to contain the crowds. NBC5's Jen Shands has reaction from neighbors.
Let me guess, it was just a large gathering.
Chaos erupting near the intersection of Belmont and Halstead several hours after what organizers say was a successful Pride Parade Sunday.
A lot of chaos.
Oh, it was a zesty parade. So zesty people are starting to get aggressive with the police now. So y'all had a Pride Parade, and the Pride Parade turned zesty, and now the people is out there getting arrested. Okay, all right.
Chaos happening right there, man.
More than 50 people were arrested early Monday morning.
Yep, that's it. Usual suspects.
After clashes like this one, CPD reports police had objects thrown at them and that multiple officers were hurt. Of the 53 arrested here, 9 are juveniles. 14 people are facing felony counts. The most serious charges, aggravated battery against an officer and assault. Police also seizing 4 guns. This comes as the city prepares for large protests at the DNC next month. The department praising officers' restraint Monday.
Disappointing, maybe is a word.
Jesus. Everybody's stressed out. Black man stressed out. White men stressed out. Look at that man. He going bald on one side. That man ain't got no hair. He combing his hair over and he got a middle part bust down with no weave and he is stressed the hell out. Everybody in America is stressed out. Look at that man. He flushed in the face. He confused. It's the next day. He got on a choker and he got a middle part bust down and he's stressing and he losing his edges on the left-hand side. Everybody is stressed out in America.
Overkill.
Lakeview resident Val Stuckey, who attended the Pride Parade, felt at times the day was over-policed.
So many cops for so few people, and they could be elsewhere.
Officers remained in the area after the parade wrapped up for crowd control. The Chicago Pride Parade, which ended safely at 2 p.m., was full of celebration and joy. Our all-volunteer organization is humbled by the overwhelming positive feedback we've received, Pride Chicago said in a statement.
Definitely everything was well contained. You know, as soon as the sun goes down, people like to come out and get rowdy.
44th Ward Alderman Bennett Lawson tells NBC5 in part, quote, "I was extremely disappointed to see disruptive actions in our neighborhood. I'm grateful to the Chicago Police Department for their quick and decisive action to limit any damage and keep people safe." In Lakeview, Jen Shine.
So be careful out here in these streets. It's rough out here, and we don't want people to continue to be stressed out. Let me read a couple of super chats, and then we're going to get to the last part of the show because I want to talk about this tariffs and this trade war. High Tolerance is in the building, says Dwight Howard / Arsenio Hall looking at ninja. Shout out to High Tolerance. And Chase Barnes says he has that Kim Jong-un hair. Yeah, Kim Jong-un do got that same hairdo. It's like, but his was, I don't know, it kind of looked like a man unit. Do they have man units for white people? I don't know. I got to start looking into this stuff. All right, let's get to something serious. Something related to what is happening with regard to election 2024. And I know a lot of people don't want to participate in an election, but we got to be able to have this conversation. And it's Biden versus Trump. Biden versus Trump, okay? And so I want to tackle this because as far as my research has led me to believe, when Trump instituted a trade war with China and also renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement, which made America more competitive when it came to them using cheap labor and then importing vehicles and importing things into the United States of America. And it was a huge gulf, especially over in China and with a lot of these other countries. And China at the time was looking to flood the United States, and they were already flooding the United States, especially during the Obama administration. They were flooding the United States with a lot of cheap steel, inferior and cheap steel. And so some of the tariffs were instituted in order to create a more fair trading environment, especially considering that when you went over to China, all companies that opened up and they decided that they wanted to do business over in China in order to expand a footprint, similar to how Chinese companies come over to the United States of America and capitalize off of the open ability for you to be able to create businesses and thrive, and then they wind up sending their money back home. In order to create a business over in China, you also had to partner with a business and become 50-50 partners, even though you were the one putting up the majority of the capital, which allowed for them to be able to steal your proprietary technology and eventually become your adversary and open up their own company. But companies would go over there and do it regardless. And the only company that wasn't able to do it, or the only company that wasn't required to do it, was Tesla. Tesla is the only company that was able to own 100% of themselves, but now they're competing against Build Your Dreams, BYD, which is basically an electric vehicle maker that's taken over the entire world. They're not just taking over in China, they're taking over the entire world, right? So there was a tariff war that was instituted, especially with Trump, in order to create a more conducive environment for American companies and better competition and allow for American companies to continue to reinvest back here in the United States of America. When you also combine the lowering of taxes that allow for American companies to bring a lot of their foreign investments back home, right? Because let's just say, for example, you and Apple has made a whole lot of money overseas, or they have foreign investments, but they won't bring that money home because the taxes was too high. So instead, they would rather take out debt and leverage the debt and then continue to keep all of the money overseas. Well, when you lowered the taxes, it brought more money within the United States of America and more investment in the United States of America. And this is why it's important for you guys to become informed. You need to become informed, not just on the surface level issues, but how you're affected as consumers, as your kids are going to be growing up and looking for jobs and all of that stuff. You need to know what was happening in real time, the real reason why there were tax breaks, the real reason why there were tariffs and all of that stuff. So I have not watched this video yet, but I am looking to understand what they are saying in the comparison of it. As far as I know, Biden did not remove the Trump tariffs. He actually probably thought that it was a good thing, which is one of the reasons why he left it in place. But make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it.
President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are debating about tariffs. There's 10% tariffs. Everything coming into the country, that's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more.
But do you notice he never took out my tariffs? He can't because it's too much money.
But not everybody supports tariffs.
The reality is that it ends up.
So, Trump instituted tariffs. Biden never took them away. Trump instituted tariffs in order to compete against Chinese companies and give them leverage, especially when it comes to negotiating better deals of what's coming and going across the border. Biden never took them away. Why didn't he take them away if he thought that they was such a bad idea? Why didn't he take the tariffs away if he thought that it was such a bad idea? Come on, ask yourself the question. Don't just go based off of the surface levels. Actually do the research, understand the policies, how it affected Americans, and then what happened after they were out of office. That's how you can start to understand how you need to vote and who it is that you need to align with. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just asking the questions.
Up being a tax on American consumers. It's a hidden cost.
Trump's proposed 10% tariff on all imports could cost the U.S. consumers more than $300 billion a year.
The irony here is that while both Trump and Biden talk about the importance of reducing inflation, tariffs actually will increase prices.
American firms have to pay the tariffs, then many companies, they need to recover the cost increase. So what do? They have to pass the cost increase to the consumers. It also contributes to part of the inflation that we're facing right now.
And Americans are still paying for tariffs imposed by Trump during his first term, tariffs that Biden has largely maintained. Over $233 billion in trade war tariffs have been collected through March 2024. Over 60% of the total, about $144 billion, was collected under Biden's administration.
So Biden actually made more money as a result of leaving Trump's tariffs in place to continue to plug the holes that we have inside of our American economy. And if you look at the blue and you start to look at the charts, you can see where all of the tariffs were levied, mostly against China. Because they're not going to stop shipping Chinese products that are manufactured over there inside of the United States of America. And so in order to incentivize companies to create, because see, the federal government can't force anybody to do anything. All they can do is incentivize. So in order to incentivize people to create jobs and manufacturing, because we largely don't even make anything here, we just assemble it here. In order to create manufacturing and jobs in the United States of America, what do? You institute tariffs and you create a level playing field, because if they're able to use cheap labor and manufacture it for cheap over there and then send it over here and sell it for a profit, that's what happens. And so you see steel, they're no longer shipping as much steel over here because now the U.S. steel industry is a little bit more robust and was saved under the Trump administration. Aluminum, very little. Solar, hardly nothing. Washing machines, so on and so forth, right? But China is the one that Chinese companies are the ones that are paying the majority of the tariffs that's coming into the United States of America, which Biden did not reduce and they did not take out.
Nearly 40% was collected during Trump's time in office. So which candidate's tariffs will be more expensive for the American consumer? And which trade war would American voters rather pay for? Tariffs are a tax on imported goods or services from another country. Policymakers argue tariffs can be a tool to protect and help grow domestic industries and ensure national security.
The mechanism that a politician is trying to achieve with a tariff is saying, hey, we're going to put up a barrier to this stuff that you can buy from a different country so that instead you have to buy it from a producer here at home.
Correct.
But tariffs may also result in unintended economic consequences. Trump's trade war tariffs generated about $233 billion in duties collected by customs through March 2024. And it's U.S. consumers that paid the extra billions through higher prices.
China doesn't pay the tariffs. The tariffs are paid by American companies that import Chinese goods.
Well, that's what they say, but that's a short-term view of it, and it's not. What they're trying to tell you is that, well, American consumers are the ones that pay the tariffs because the costs are eventually passed on to the American consumers. That's not what they're designed for. They're designed for you to eventually start to manufacture goods over here in the United States of America and reduce your dependence on foreign companies that originally was taking advantage of American consumers by selling products over here, but is not manufacturing them here. Once companies start to realize, listen, it costs me more to manufacture products overseas and then ship it over here. And that's one of the reasons why they're talking about tariffs on cars that are imported inside the United States of America. For example, Chinese car company BYD, because y'all gotta not be so short-sighted. BYD, which Warren Buffett is invested in, is basically trying to have these government subsidized cars that are manufactured in China, then shipped over here to the United States of America, and then they're going to sell it to you for cheap, and then you're going to feel like you're getting a deal when in reality, you're just helping the Chinese economy. Instead of us building and making cars and vehicles over here, and then trying to figure out how we can reduce the cost of these cars, what we do is we take the short side way out and we say, well, we just gonna import everything over here. That's one of the reasons why we in this problem in the first place, is because the Clinton administration is the Clinton and the first Bush are the ones that incentivize us to ship jobs overseas. And that's why we don't make anything in the United States of America now. That's why we all dependent on credit. The only thing that we do is we leverage interest in order to generate revenue. And that's why the banks are too big to fail. We finance everything. That's where the American economy is based off of financing. We don't make anything here anymore. Now, all we do is finance everything. We put the money up, or we charge consumers based off of how much we can convince them to buy, and that's how we prop up the economy. But in order for us to continue to become to be a superpower and be able to compete inside of the world, at some point you have to incentivize people to say, you know what? We don't even want to make stuff over there anymore. Now I think that we can do it cheaper here because it's going to cost us more, and it's going to cost American companies to import it from over there instead of manufacturing it here. Otherwise, we would have steel being dumped inside of the United States of America, and the steel industry would cease to exist, and all of the suppliers that support it, and all of the cities that benefit as a result of it. And so there's give and take. There's give and take. Short-sighted people are only going to say, well, the only thing we care about is the cost. They don't care about the American economy itself. People that view things long-term understand that costs are driven out based off of your ability to be able to make it here with American workers. But if you don't incentivize that, then it's never going to happen, because the only thing people care about is capitalizing off of things, capitalization, a capitalistic economy.
Pass those costs on as much as they can to their consumers.
It comes at the cost of us having to pay a higher price
we don't make
for
cars
that
here in the United
domestically
States of
produced
America.
good, rather
We only
than buying
assemble
the cheaper
trucks.
foreign alternative.
A study from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that Trump's 2018 tariffs cost the typical household an additional $419 per year.
We saw in the 2018-2019 trade war, almost 100% of the tariff was passed through to U.S. consumers. And so that means, yes, U.S. consumers.
And U.S. consumers can also do their part by not purchasing Chinese products. But I think that would be too much to ask, because y'all don't care nothing about it. Y'all just going to keep on going to Dollar Tree. You're going to keep on going to the dollar store. U.S. consumers can do their part by choosing to become more informed on what it is that they purchase. When you go to the car dealership, they have the thing. I think I might have one here. I might have one here. If you really care, I lost my other thing. See if I got it. This is. I'm gonna play this and see if I can find it.
Had to pay higher prices.
The Biden administration says its recent tariffs will not have an inflationary impact because the tariffs only target specific sectors.
When the Biden people say it's not inflationary, I don't know what they mean. And prices of those products are going to go up. We had an experience actually with steel and aluminum. We saw what happened with that. We had experience with tires during the Obama administration. They imposed tariffs on foreign-made tires. And what happened? The price of the tires went up. It's not complicated.
The U.S. economy and inflation are among the top concerns for voters. An April 2024 NBC News poll found that 23% of voters were concerned about the rising cost of living and inflation. 11% of voters noted jobs and economy as key issues.
The economics on tariffs are really clear that they're a tax increase that ultimately we pay, but the politics on them are actually really favorable because a tariff is this policy tool that lets a politician say, hey, we're going to punish foreign producers, we're going to protect domestic producers.
Despite their differing stances on policy, both Biden and Trump have common ground when it comes to tariffs.
So on the surface, the tariffs that Trump has imposed, even during his last term, is really trying to protect jobs. And Biden, to a certain extent, is doing the same.
A closer look at each president's tariff policies reveals where the ideology begins to differ. Trump is campaigning on getting even tougher on tariffs if he is elected.
If you look at Trump, he started the trade war with China by imposing around 25% tariffs on certain items. And now he's saying that, if you get elected, he will try to increase the tariffs to 60%. So from his perspective, it's really America first. So in that case, Americans should buy the products made in the United States, produced by Americans.
I also will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That's if China or any other country makes us pay 100 or 200% tariff or tax, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff or tax of 100 or 200% right back.
Trump is talking about very broad tariffs on the whole world. And that's really not for a specific purpose of helping U.S. industries. It's really more to sort of show that America is in charge.
Trump has floated ideas like a 10% tariff on every imported good, 60% tariffs on all Chinese goods imported, and a 100% tariff on imported cars.
All right, so this is what it looks like, all right? A lot of consumers, this is right in front of your face, and a lot of times the first thing that you look at when you purchase a vehicle, right? When you purchase a vehicle, the first thing that you look at is the purchase price, right? So the total price is right there, but if you look at the bottom, right? The bottom of what it is that you got going on. If you look at the bottom, it'll actually tell you exactly what's going on with the car itself. So it'll say parts, content, information for vehicles, whatever, so on and so forth. And it'll tell you, it'll say, listen, for vehicles in this car line, U.S. and Canadian part content. And that's one of the things that they get you with. They'll say, basically the Americas and North America itself. So they'll include Mexico sometimes. Sometimes they'll do Canada. They'll also do American and Mexico. And it'll tell you, and this is one of the things that we like foreign, 0% made inside of the United States of America. 0 parts from Germany. Major sources of foreign parts, content from Germany. 75% of my car was made in Germany. Why? Because I ordered it from Germany. I was literally watching it being built. They send you pictures of the possibility the whole time. And what happens is they eventually ship it over to the United States of America. So the entirety of this car, the only people that made money off of this car, or the only place where money was circulated from this car, was at the dealership itself, and then Porsche. Final assembly was in Stuttgart, Germany. It wasn't even assembled here. Transmission, Germany. Engine, Germany. Country of origin. The whole thing will tell you when you go to the dealership, and you go into it and you start to see every single thing that was made on this vehicle, in addition to the fuel economy and all of this other stuff. If you go over and look at it, then it will 100% tell you, hey, listen, this is how much of the vehicle was manufactured here. This is how much the vehicle was assembled here. And then also on top of that, this is how much of this vehicle, how many of the parts were made here in the United States of America. Yes, my car was custom made.
Also talked about proposing a 10% tariff. And I wanted to ask you about that because the Center-Right American Action Forum, which is a think tank, said that they thought the plan would, quote,
so they probably sourcing all of the other parts that they made, because 75% of it was manufactured in Germany, but other parts of it was probably made in other parts of the world and then shipped into Germany. That was a part of the manufacturing process.
Distort global trade, discourage economic activity, and have broad negative consequences for the U.S. economy.
Well, they're wrong.
It would distort international trade. It would bring it back to the United States.
For President Trump, he's looking at the issues from the trade deficits. When he started the trade war, the trade deficit between US and China is over $350 billion. And now it has actually gone down. So on one hand, it said that, wow, it is working, but there's a caveat. Actually, US will still import more things from other countries, but not directly from China.
Trump has also talked about replacing the federal income tax with tariffs and potential tariffs on countries whose citizens may be contributing to illegal immigration.
Said, I want you to give us 28,000 soldiers on our border to stop the people that are coming in with the caravans. And they laughed at me. I said, that's okay. You don't want to do it, right? Yeah, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on all of your products, including all of the cars that you're selling.
While Trump's tariff proposals are more wide-reaching, Biden's recent approach to tariffs has been targeted.
Announcing today, 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum products.
So if he's literally taking Trump's blueprint and he's implementing it, how can he hold him accountable and how can he debate with him about whether or not the tariffs is actually good or bad for America while he's trying to build up the chip manufacturing and manufacturing inside of the United States of America also? Because that's what a lot of his legislation is behind. And so in a lot of ways, what people don't understand is the same thing that you don't like one candidate for, but you champion another candidate for. They're the same. They're not going to publicly say, yeah, we agree on that because it's a debate. But both of them believe in exactly what one of them did, and then they carried that over in the same way that Trump believed in what Obama was doing when it came to deportation and immigration. A lot of them agree, but they'll never publicly say it because they have to sow dissent amongst the voters in order to get you to pick one side or another. A lot of politicians agree on a lot of issues, and then they take a small amount of issues and they highlight those in order to force you to try to pick a side. But if you're not educated enough to understand it, if you don't know that Obama was one of the biggest immigration advocates and he deported more people from the United States of America that was here illegally than any president before him, then you would be disillusioned and say, well, no, we don't want to build the wall. When Trump literally took the exact same blueprint that Obama had and he implemented it into his administration. And then Biden take the exact same blueprint from Trump when it comes to tariffs in order to make sure that they competing and they operating fairly as far as what the American economy is needing. So a lot of these presidents agree and they use abortion or some small stupid thing in order to try to divide you and then get themselves in office, but they're not going to tell you what they agree with. They're just going to tell you what they disagree with.
And we'll counter China's overcapacity in these industries.
Biden announced more tariffs on $18 billion worth of Chinese imports, including a 100% tariff on electric vehicles, a 50% tariff on solar cells, and a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum. Starting in 2025, Chinese semiconductor tariffs will double to 50%.
When he was running for presidency in 2020, he said that if he was elected, he would actually remove the tariffs imposed by President Trump.
And he never removed the tariffs. He got elected on lying to y'all the same way that he said, Jesus Christ. It's amazing how much y'all so disillusioned and how short y'all memory is to forget about what the truth is. He got elected, and one of the things that he said is that the first thing that he's going to do is remove the tariffs. He said it. And what he did was he instituted more tariffs. He did the complete opposite, or whoever his handlers were, because we don't know who actually running the White House at this point. I'm going to read the super chat shortly. I appreciate y'all. He did the complete opposite of what he said that he was going to do because he knew that it was the right thing to do. But in order to be able to jog y'all and get y'all emotionally attached to what he got going on, it was easy for him to finesse y'all. Y'all fell for the okie doke.
He didn't.
When Biden took office, he maintained most of the tariffs that Trump had put in place.
When Biden was campaigning, he talked about the tariffs the way an economist would.
Manufacturers and consumers losing and paying more.
Wow, he was a completely different person 4 years ago. He was what happened? Did he have a stroke?
But now he has kept those tariffs, recommended increasing them. These tariffs are also being paired with massive domestic industrial policy. So we have barriers to trade going up, and we also have significant government subsidies going to certain sectors.
Thanks to my Chips and Science Act.
Have I not been saying this? Have I not been hitting on this and advocating for this? I did a whole show where I broke down the CHIPS Act. I did a whole show where I broke down the CHIPS Act and where the money was going and what other things that they was throwing inside of this legislation in order to push it through. And nobody remembers it because nobody really cared, and they was more concerned about the things that didn't really mean anything to us. I've been pushing this and having this conversation, and that's why I say I got to put the medicine inside of the candy. In addition to being entertaining, it's important for us to put the medicine inside of the candy so that you guys can make an informed decision daily, not only just who you voting for president, not only what you're doing for locally, but also about what you're doing as far as your decisions on a daily basis, even investing in yourself. Because if you're not educated and you're not informed, then you're going to just believe anything that anybody says on the surface, and then they can lie to you and then do something completely different when they really more or less align with each other.
Ever in science and technology, we're bringing this vital industry back home where it started, in the United States of America.
I'm not sure that this really is even going to succeed in the targeted industries that Biden's talking about. His theory is that that's going to create even more incentive.
You're right. That is the reason why Taiwan is so important. That's the reason why we shipping so much money over to Taiwan in order to have this proxy war with China.
For U.S. chip makers to produce these chips domestically. For very highly targeted industries, that might work kind of. Problem with that is when you do it Biden's way and you impose tariffs only on one country, it's very likely that one of the results will be that companies will produce the same product in a different country and avoid the tariff.
The Biden administration completed a review of tariffs imposed under Trump and decided to keep the Section 301 tariffs in place.
The conclusion to keep the tariffs is actually a pretty weird one if you read.
Anyway, so my point is that, be careful with what you told, do your own research, make sure you subscribe to the Millionaire Morning Show, because we're going to get to the bottom of everything in order to make sure that you guys become informed on your decisions. Our goal is to break it down from a C student's perspective, educate you, entertain you, and then allow for you to be able to make the decision for yourself. We don't invest your money. We just use ourselves as an example in order to illustrate how you should be moving. All right? So make sure that you guys subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description. We got Stock Club this week. We're not going to do it tomorrow because tomorrow is the 4th of July. We are going to do the show tomorrow. We're going to do the Millionaire Morning Show tomorrow, but we're not going to do Stock Club tomorrow. I got to figure out what that looks like over the weekend. All right? Let me read some of the super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here. JP says, it's interesting. RFK was just accused of SA. Really? BZE says, hey, AD, if a family member was to give you $10,000, which skill or investment would be your first to learn before the economy reset? And which soft skill would help you leverage this skill? If somebody was to give me money, if somebody was to give you free money, I think that the first thing you should do is reduce the amount of money that it takes for you to live by getting rid of the debt. I always say get rid of the rocks out of your backpack so you can climb Mount Everest. That's the first thing that I would do. The second thing that I would do is I would go to community college, and then I would make sure that I transitioned over into a major university and educate myself, because the best investment that you can make is not in any stock, it's not in any real estate, it's not in any of that. It's in yourself. Because on a very basic level, your ability to be able to earn more money while at the same time reducing the amount of money that you got to pay in interest to these companies will allow for you to invest more into yourself and then ultimately invest in assets. You are your own biggest asset. If you're not making enough money or you're not generating enough revenue to then be able to invest in assets, then you'll never be able to have any kind of passive income whatsoever. You'll never be able to have any kind of investment income. A lot of y'all have self-inflicted wounds as far as, how much money that you spend in and a spending problem, but it's some people that also have an earning problem. It's some people that got an earning problem. So I think that you should then invest in yourself, invest in community college, and go into STEM. Transfer over to a major university. One of the ways I parlayed it is that I wound up working for a major university, the University of Michigan, which then paid for my education, or the majority of my education when it came to a major university. And then I parlayed that into corporate America. So That's how I would play it. The same way that I did it is the same way that I'm going to advocate that you do it. Demetrius Coleman says, Anton, I watched the Randy show last night and appreciate you standing on business. What I realize is that people only want to go as far as their paradigm will take them. Speak the truth. Keep speaking the truth. Thank you, Demetrius. I appreciate you. BZE says, here's 10. When Apple stopped their production on their car, you gave us advice to buy Rivian on the morning show. I bought $200 worth more. It went up. I instantly joined the chasers. That's proof. And then we take our profits. And then we dollar cost average. We take our profits when it jumped like that, and then we dollar cost average. We're going to talk more about that on Stock Club inside of the Patreon. Tech Coach Ralph says the only talking point they have is Trump lied. JP says Vanity Fair did a whole article essay on eating dogs. What? That's crazy. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to everybody that continues to pour into the platform. Tomorrow we will be doing a show, 4th of July or not. You know we do not miss. We will be doing a show tomorrow. And I'm going to try to get an episode dropped for y'all of my new show, the Anton Daniels Show, either today or Friday or both. But we'll see. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all the greatest audience on earth. Thank you for continuing to rock with me. Again, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.